Hello, today I would like to present about the topic of risk in investing in green energy. The topic is divided into four parts. Part one is worldwide green energy introduction, and part two is the Vietnam green energy overview. Part three, project development phase, and part four focus on risk in green project development. So let's talk about part one, World Green Energy Overview. According to World Wind Energy Association, we can say that the global energy investment for power generation is around 500 billion USD in 2019, and renewables dominate investing in new power generation and are expected to account for 70% of 2021's total USD 530 billion spending on new generation capacity, and demand from corporate sector for clean electricity to meet the sustainability targets in the future. And the demand in investment in global electricity sector is expected to increase by around 5% in 2021. Renewable are dominating the inflows of capital to new power generation capacity, and the investment remained robust in 2020, given the disruption caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, and the share of renewables in total power sector spending around 45% in 2020. Investments in solar and wind power at the same level, but you can see that the wind energy can generate the remarkable output. So part two, we can talk about Vietnam wind energy overview. It's very potential for wind power development in Vietnam is high, and just only 190 megawatts have been put into the operation up until now. And the targets of the government in tall wind energy capacity by 2030 around 6,000 to 6,200 megawatt. You can say that total wind energy capacity by 2024 weighted approval will around 45,000 megawatts in Vietnam. And Vietnam has the advantage of wind energies with the coastline of more than 3,000 kilometers and located in the monsoon climate zone. Vietnam has considerable potential for harnessing its wind resources. The province, the province with the most promising wind potential including Ninh Thuận, Vũng Tàu, Bến Tre, Nha Trang, Bạc Liêu, Cà Mau, and the Central Highlands. And the part three, we talk about the five phases of project development. From here, to identify potential risks in each phase, we have total five phases. From phase A, preliminary development; phase B, development; and phase C, implementation; phase D, operation and maintenance; and phase D, decommissioning. And in each phase, we also include the small sector it belongs to the process or arrangement with the Vietnamese authority. For example, phase A also have design selection and free FS from a process and decision on investment register certificate from arrangement with Vietnamese authority. Maybe phase B, we also have the FS phase, technical design from the process, arrangements, land use rights, construction permits, skill funding from arrangement with Vietnamese authority. And phase C, we also already completely depends on the process with detailed design, financing, construction. Phase D, we also have operation license, electricity generation license from the arrangement with the Vietnamese authorities, and the commissioning or testing from the process. And final phase, the commissioning the process. And the part four, we will focus on the risk in investing in energy projects. So this slide I want you to know that I want to identify the level of risk, the matches between the impact, consequences, and probability. We divide consists of four level from high stabilized triple minus, medium level is double minus, and low level is one minus, and insignificant is zero minus. I identify to actually I want to assess the risk and the risk management. So that's the reason I decide to make the classification of risk with the form the basis of following review in each phase. For example, in phase A we also have the risk from risk in size selection and free FS risk. From free design selection, I think is the lack of in-depth market researches and reports about structure of projects position. Maybe come from the division between measurement data reliability and uncertainty. The level of risk I think is double minus with the major consequences and the probability, and the cost of risk come from the project developer or natural condition. And related to pre-FS, I think risk of overestimated figures, I think its effect on the revenues in the future and the effectiveness of the project, and the level of risk with the double minus with the consequences and promote probability, and the cost of risk come from the project developer. And the phase B, we also classify for carries from the skill funding. I think it's very risky because the successful win project requires a huge of capital, paying the interest if you leveraging finance from a credit organization. And the level of risk, I think, double minus with moderate consequences and remote probability, and the cost of risk from the investor, where is the national creditors, and the legal in construction permits in the USA very important potential by trans country specific policy support schemes on regulation in regard to renewable energy investment resulting in lower than expected revenue, and I identify its double minus moderate consequences and likely probability. The cost from national level and public sector administrators. The other importance is risk in legal and country, maybe related to political policy, regulatory risk. Uh, Renewable energy policy are strict and nuclear in Vietnam, and the control electricity price and volume from the government and the legal for investment is very challenging for investor. And I think that it double minus the level with major consequences and frequent probability, and the cost of risk come from the national level and public sector administrator. And final, I think the project cycle in FS3, you can see that the turbines from the steel material and all the parts are designed with the material is around 20 years. This affects in significant on the break-even points and other investment criteria like NPV, IRR, or payback time. And I think is the one minus level, and the cost of risk come from the national level and public sector administration. And for C, implementation, I also identify the risk in the construction, and we can say that the risk is important because the system completely depends on the foreign technology to implement in Vietnam. The dominant supplier of wind turbines to Vietnam are currently CE from USA, and the Vesta Denmark, and Brooklander from Germany. CE also invested in From manufacturer with wind turbine components to help support global demand for these wind turbines. And the lack of technologies and sometimes the lack of expert and ability in implementing. I think the level of risk is double minus with major consequences and remote probability. And the cause of risk come the people, supplier, natural hazards, or maybe project developer. And the other important risk is the risk in logistics. You can say that the fee for hiring logistics agent erecting the equipment of wind turbine is characterized by tone, large size, or maybe the risk in the delivery long term resulting in the implementing the project were delays. And I guess the level of risk double minus with major consequences and remote probability. And it's come from the people, supplier, and the natural hazard and the project development. And in the Friday, I also recognize the risk from natural and weather condition. For example, is maybe little the degree in the operating capacity is expectation if you don't have much in-depth market research about. And I recognize it's just the one minus with the moderate consequence and remote probability and prominent cause from nature hazards. And the lack of experts in maintenance and operating is very important because Vietnam currently does not have the necessary skilled labor to adequately maintain the specialized equipment of which each wind generating unit requires in order to fulfill the ongoing maintenance requirements of their requirement is necessary for project developer to sign the maintenance arrangement with the turbine supplier. As a result, the project developer rely on foreign manufacturer to provide quality maintenance service. We also pay a fee, right? And I think it's come from depends on the supplier, and this is cause of the people, the core risk from people and the level of risk with the moderate consequent and remote probability. The final risk I think is the license for generating electricity and revenue loss because low fish is a target for wind energies. And there are a number of legal documents to be relevant for the implementation of renewable energy projects in Vietnam. And the level of risk may be double minus with the major consequence and remote probability. And the cause of risk come from authority, national level, and public sector administration. So that is all the information from my knowledge and research. So thank you so much for your attention.